Alright, in order to add a little bit of thickness around the eyelid, we're going to grab border, and then nice and easy, we're just going to shift drag slightly back into the mesh. Now that's going to create the thickness of the eyelid for us. We don't have to get too precise here, but as we drag in a little bit farther, now we're going to go into the front view, and we're going to use scale. Just scale a little bit on vertical, and a little bit less on the horizontal. That's going to help us create basically the transition or the curvature of the skin up into the face. That way, when we drop a sphere in there and push the skin around the face, we're actually going to have what feels like thickness to the eyelid. Alright, now we go around the mouth. So if I hold down Shift, click next to it, it's going to give me that entire loop. That'll only work if you keep those edges consecutive as you make the polygons turn around the mouth. So then from there, I'm going to use my scale tool, and I'm going to scale vertically with the Shift key to build new polygons. Then we can move those forward, but we don't want to move them all forward. In the corner of the mouth here, we need these two vertices to kind of stay tucked back in here. So as everything else starts to come forward, we're going to have some parts of the lip that kind of push back in to the corner of the mouth. Bottom lip has a lot more volume than the top lip. Again, back to those edges, they should still be selected. Let's check here. Got to bring these two a little farther in here. Then we can scale them together a little bit. Alright, then we go back to edges. And again, we're going to scale vertically with Shift. Create more polys. Back to vertex. Move them around. Now, getting everything to open up right there, it's going to be a lot easier to, let's get out of sub-object and just grab our relax tool. Let's let that open up a little bit so we can find our vertices. Again, back to edges. Our edges are still selected. We'll scale down. We can move them back in just a little. And then again, back to vertex. Now, since this model is not ever going to talk, we don't need to worry about creating the mouth in such a way that it actually has the ability to open back up. So if we really wanted to, we could actually bridge across here. Even though with this, I'm not going to. We're going to go back to the edges. We're going to scale one more time with Shift so we get pretty well closed, and then we're just going to move those back in. Now, as long as we get really, really close together, shouldn't ever be able to see into that opening. And if we get out of sub-object, again, put our turbo smooth back on. Take a look. That looks pretty good. We got a decent little wrap into the inside of the mouth there. We can define the bottom lip a little bit more right here. And we'll define the top lip a little bit more around that edge. It's looking pretty good though. Alright, go back to vertex. Now, we want to take and kind of stack some of these vertices up a little bit at the top edge. Doing that is going to help define kind of a crease at the top edge of the lip, which is going to help us make it be a bit more realistic. Then on the side here, I'm going to bring that out a little bit more. Increase the volume of the bottom lip that way. If we look back at our rendered image, you can see we want to just kind of define and round that out a little bit more there. As that comes together a bit more, again, we'll define a bit more of a crease. So the tighter edges are together, the less Turbo Smooth is going to be able to soften up the transition between them. So that's why big polygons tend to be nice and smooth, and narrow polygons tend to be creases. So we have a lot of control over the surface as long as we understand how what we're doing is actually going to affect it. All right, let's look at that Turbo Smooth again. We get a bit more definition there. We're getting a little too pinchy at the corner of the mouth there. So what we can do, get out of sub-object. We'll go back down to our relax. That's a little better. And from any normal viewing angle, it looks good. All right, we need to work on the jawline there just a little bit more. So we'll move around here, go back to our relax, a bit bigger brush. And we can soften that up. And you can see I can even use the relax tool while I see the Turbo Smooth up above. A little too defined there still, so we'll up the brush size and up the brush strength. And as we brush over, we'll smooth that out. That's a little better. We have a jawline, but it's not super hard edged. We may still want to go back in here. Kind of adjust the location of some of this just a bit. Now, a lot of times when we turn Turbo Smooth on, it'll have the effect of kind of shrinking our mesh slightly. It's because as it kind of rounds off the surface, it's interpolating through the curvature of the mesh, which a lot of times will adjust a little bit about where those curves sit. So we can always go in here and just kind of fine tune where some of those edges are. Well, let's turn around the back just a little bit, take a look, get a little more light on there. Yeah, that looks pretty good right there. All right, so from here we're moving on to the ear.